991.1 Porsche Turbo S right quarter panel damage. This is caused by a strike from a high heel. So people in the industry can really understand what these dents really illustrated. Location challenge, depth, softness of the metal, especially the section below the scoop intake system that was behind PPF. We opted to leave the PPF on. Didn't want to create any more challenges for the customer. I knew it was going to be a challenge for us. R&I, a lot of guys would try to go in through the intake system on the outer part, but here is a great example of a methodology and a process to use to gain access to this area. And we're working directly behind the metal. After you take the original wheel liner off, you're able to actually start to see the inner structure system of the intake that's designed by Porsche. I've got the wheel stud here to protect as I pulled it off from the heat shield. As you guys can see, I'm pointing to it. I've got a factory drain plug that's there. It's designed to actually take a tube for the cabriolets. And here is the ability for me to get all of the access that I need, which is just removing this entire inner structure of the intake system and gently sliding it out of the way. As you guys are going to see here in a second, what it looks like lit up from behind. There's no need to drill in the door jamb, which was a concern for the customer. There's the entire inner working of the quarter panel, as you guys can see that. There's a hole that's going to give me direct line of sight right to the dent that's behind the PPF, so the closer that I work with it, direct in line is going to be a little bit more helpful. When you are removing that plug, you will see what looks like a piece of foam that I have here, and that is actually down and in the quarter panel. It's just loose, it's just kind of hanging out. Serves a purpose. In this case, we just gently pulled it out of the way, and here you can see I've already started working on the one that's closest to the edge and get an idea of how deep and bottomed out that dent is. It's actually stretched to about 8 inches. And I decided I would take a video of me working on it a little bit. I don't do this very often. You can see I've been able to tighten it up enough to, take a direct knockdown, tap down approach. Doing it over PPF, you have to be incredibly careful because you don't want to scar the paint protection film. Again, we opted to leave it on. It made my job a lot more challenging, a lot more difficult, but it was worth it. So just, you guys can watch here a little bit. See these different angles that I'm really getting into, because I'm trying to do my best at being very gentle on knocking down the edges. Prior to filming, I went in there and was able to put a dolly behind this dent, which you guys are going to see here, and use the titanium tip on my knockdown hammer, my carbon fiber knockdown hammer, and kind of just gently vibrate the metal, knock down the edges while simultaneously pushing. Here I'm in with a very, 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 very sharp tip. You can see how much of this metal is just going to start to really explode. And that's the beginning stages of really tightening it up. These dents like this take a lot of time, especially when you're not able to use a power PDR box, which is a machine designed to retighten the metal. Really wouldn't have been an option for getting in there with it. Don't think it was really necessary. Really wanted to test kind of the skill set of metal craftsmanship work before resulting to that. So just a lot of very, 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 very sharp pushes, very specific. The metal is completely raised here at this point. It is not concaved, it's convexed. Here's the old school dolly. So my arm is now in the inner side of the quarter panel. I've applied pressure on the back side, and I'm going to slowly begin to knock down. And the pressure that I'm applying with the dolly on the back side, as well as on the outside here, is really tightening and strengthening the stretch of the metal and allowing me to drive down specifically where I want to. And if you look and pay attention closely, you can start to see that the bottom of the dent is a lot smaller. So we still have a high spot there, which not too worried about it. So this was about a 2.5 hour dent, and here's the end result. Speaks for itself. The best part about this fade was the ability to see the result, and I was super proud of this job. Thanks for watching, guys.